Hey guys, my name is Simpzy, how you all doing? Welcome back to some more Hearts of Iron 4 here today on the channel. We're going to be checking out the United States on the No Step Back DLC. So, if you like the sound of that, feel free to leave the video a like and subscribe if you're new. I'd really much appreciate it. We're doing another observer mode / AI only campaign similar to the Soviet video. So if you like the sound of that, support it and I'll do more Hoi4 content. So we're going to be starting on the 1st of January 1936. We're going to be playing as the United States under Frank D. Roosevelt. We finished the Soviet campaign yesterday and I'm open to doing more as well. So I think we'll start with the major factions and we'll work our way down. Let's get stuck into the United States. So mods, just using UI mods, of course. I am actually using Chaos AI, and I'm using a coring mod just to make the AI actually concore its territory a lot quicker and get more military forces. So we're going to be going on Elite difficulty, Iron Man mode off, and obviously we're going to untick historical AI focuses. I might actually do a historical campaign before these scenario sort of campaigns. You kind of want everything to go a bit crazy. You want to see an alternative timeline. I don't particularly want to see the vanilla World War II scenario too often. Okay, so obviously for this video, we're going to be focusing on the United States. There's a fair few ways this country can go down. It can go through the traditional democratic interventionism, like in World War II. Hopefully it doesn't become too democratic, like turtle up. That would be a very just boring video in my opinion. Obviously they could go communist or fascist as well. It's going to be interesting to see how the United States deals with its North American counterparts and in the South as well. But depending on how this video goes, we might need to jump over to another country, depending on what sort of chaos and madness happens in Europe. So, without further ado, let's get it underway. So, 3rd of January 1936, the American economy is still yet to fully snowball. Frank D. currently in charge. The next election is in November this year. So, the United States start off with 36 divisions. Incredibly small army at the moment. They have 35 infantry, 1 cavalry divisions, and a total of 389 battalions. No armor, no artillery. But obviously it takes a couple years before the United States gets involved with the world conflict. I remember doing my Man the Guns campaign. Like, the states are very, very strong now with the Man the Guns DLC. They've also got, obviously, their the Senate and House support in Congress as well, which can change things up. But yeah, pretty early on, if you could nearly take out Mexico and Canada, you can really set yourself up. As long as you, for the late game, as long as you don't draw in any of the major factions, like the Allies, the Axis, or the Comintern, if you can somehow grow and continue to conquer America without calling anyone in, you can make the United States in a better position before the World War kicks off, which can happen sometimes earlier, sometimes late. But only time will tell. The American Air Force, or Navy, let's start off with 19 fleets, 3 carriers, 15 battleships, 15 heavy cruisers, 12 light, and 114 destroyers with a whopping 72 submarines. That is huge. They have one of the biggest navies in the game early on. Same with Britain. So it's pretty hard to attack America in the early campaign. They currently have 18 total air wings, 105 CAS, nearly 500 fighters as well. So that actually looks kind of decent. So they're currently just trying to get more house support. We've also got the various naval treaties as well. I'm curious to see how the events go on, particularly with the Japanese and the various Pearl Harbor events. They're yet to create an intelligence agency, the CIA, I guess. The Americans are currently improving their mechanical computing capacity. They're also improving their machine tools, concentrated industry, and excavation as well. Alright, so a war has kicked off here down in Spain as always. The nationalists against the democratically aligned country. Italy and Ethiopia have ended their war. So it's always interesting to see who wins the Spanish Civil War, because it can really influence things on the European continent, depending on where France goes as well. Quite often you can see Spanish military forces flood over the Pyrenees. So the United States has currently 175 total factories with only 10 military, 150 civilian though. They've got a bunch of oil, and you would imagine that comes from mostly Texas and the sort of southern states. 34 aluminium, rubber they would need to increase, but overall not too bad. The rubber and the chromium can be a little bit concerning, but 34 tungsten, a lot of American steel, which they're now bringing in. It's pretty good for them, and they're further increasing their civilian capacity in getting more civilian factories. Production-wise, the Americans are currently making 21 M1 Grands a day, and they're starting to build a military stockpile of support equipment, artillery, and they're just increasing their air force and naval capacity as well. The American base division is, well, very, very basic, with only minor support artillery and an engineer company here as well. Logistics-wise as well, they need to get those rifles back on track. They do have a surplus in artillery now, though, and with trains. Oh, but here we go. War Plan Crimson. Oh, no. Is war about to break out on the North American continent? And as there's been no wars, the officer corps hasn't gone in. Okay, they currently have 265 manpower. That's kind of crazy. Oh, what's happened here? Oh, maybe that's why they've done it. Has the UK dissolved the Commonwealth? And it looks like it has. Wow. So I will go through the various trees. So, oh wow, a fallen government. It looks like they're bringing back the monarchy, which has absolutely stuffed Canada there, and that's why the Americans are going to take it, because they don't want Canada to fall into another faction's sphere of influence. Oh my god. And the Americans, oh, thankfully, oh, Alf Langdon is currently in charge. Oh, Frank D lost. 1940 will be the next election. So the Canadians under Mackenzie King could very well be defeated. What's going on down in Mexico? They are still currently unaligned. Over here in France, Pierre is still currently in control. We've also got the NSDAP, of course, with the Germans. And then we've got the Soviet Union as well. What's going on over in Japan? Not too much, yeah, but free India might complicate things over in the east. The only war still going on is the Spanish Civil War. Looks like there's some more regional councils joining on in. However, there's been a Latvia war here as well, as the communist Latvians are trying to take out the non-aligned, as in this No Step Back DLC. I am running all the DLCs, of course. The Soviets, Poland, and the Baltic states all have new reworked focus trees. 7th of May 1937, and we've got some things kicking off here. The Soviet Union is in a civil war with Russia, and we've completed America first. Oh my god. But the White Russians are facing the Red Army, as Stalin is still in charge. However, the Provisional Russian government... Oh my god, okay. Crazy. Looks like monarchical forces and monarchy forces are on the rise, as the Russians, the White Russians, are doing quite well in the east here. Oh, wow. Okay. They've managed to seize a lot of the Soviet army. 100,000 Russians have fallen, White Russians, compared to the Red 32. Looks like India is dealing with some internal stabilities, but also Mexico's had a civil war on our doorstep as well, which we'll really need to keep an eye on, as we have the non-aligned Mexican government dealing with the democratic. Right, over in the States, they're adjusting the Compensation Act, and it looks like Canada is increasing their infantry corps, but we are currently, oh my god, supporting the Canadian government. Japan declared war upon Russia. Oh, well, that's now kicked off because they're currently bordering. Oh, here we go. The Republic of Ukraine has declared war upon the Soviet Union. The country that cannot be named. Cost. Oh, wow. So, it looks like the non-aligned Russians have allied up with the Ukrainians. Oh my god. As the Soviet Union might very well collapse in this series incredibly early on. Oh, yeah, just like there's even smaller republics breaking out here as well. A border territory here between Finland and the Russians has declared their independence. Man, it was the Germans last time in the Soviet video to have their crazy civil war. This time it's the Russians. The Ruskies are not looking good, as the Czech Entente is actually making a faction and breaking away from the German sphere of influence. So if Czechoslovakia gets attacked, Yugoslavia will fight and defend them fiercely, as Britain has switched over to Edward. King Edward. Oh my god. Crazy scenes as Russia is in turmoil, with Ukrainians pushing up against the Russians. The Soviets rather. Oh my god. Slav Ukraine. Oh my god, they're doing so well. As the White Russians are pushing from the east as well. Japan, however, though, is taking their territory that they gained because they bordered them there. Oh my god. So the war in 1937 might kick off depending what's going on here in Russia. Last time in the Soviet video, the World War was started because the Turks declared war upon the Greeks. The Greeks were backed into the Allies, and Turkey joined the German faction. Oh, Turkey is, just speaking of the devil, is declaring war upon Bulgaria. No major factions have come in just yet, but this is just Chaos AI, man. It goes a bit crazy. Yeah, so they're part of the Commonwealth of Nations, which has South Africa and Australia in it. We've got the assistance block here, and the Greater East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere. So it looks like Japan is actually pushing into Manchuria quite well. But the Soviet Union is getting eaten from the inside. I guess the Axis couldn't bring in Czechoslovakia or any other neighbouring country just yet, so they brought in Hungary before Austria, which is an interesting development on the world stage. And the ASS has been created under Alf Langdon. So, for all intensive purposes, this is the American CIA. Oh my god, the Soviet Union is getting eaten up by so many factions. The Republic of Crimea, the Cimmerians, have declared war upon them. So there's been nearly 500,000 Soviet losses. However, Latvia has come in to help them. But look at this coalition of partners. Crimea, Chechnya, okay, it's a big one. Chechnya, Georgia, Armenia, Ukraine, and then the provisional Russian government there. But the Russians are at war with the Japanese, which can complicate things. This is where their losses are probably accumulating a bit. Back over in Mexico, who won the war? Oh, I think just the non-aligned factions did. But unfortunately, it looks like they're going for a communist revolution, which isn't the best thing. But look at this. Russian military forces are just going in a bit of a land grab at the moment, as Stalin looks like he's not going to be in this campaign for much longer, you would imagine. Oh my god, India and Pakistan are actually battling it out massively. India might actually fall. Look at that. The only problem is, if the Russians don't consolidate themselves, the Japanese are going to be on their tail, but Pakistan... This doesn't look like India. Oh my god, as Muhammad has taken it. Alright, okay. Oh, here we go, we've got a war kicking off. Romania has joined the France has joined Czechoslovakia. Trade was terminated with Brazil and Cuba. And it looks like the Axis is at war with the Czech Entente, as the Allies have basically been dismantled due to Edward, who is more than likely, he's technically non-aligned, but he's more aligned with Germany, you would think, as it looks like the Soviet Union has been dissolved and a provisional Russian government has been installed to bring back the Tsar, and Japan is actually pushing into their territory. So it's going to be interesting to see how Russia does in this campaign. Also, Pakistan as well has actually seized territory. I was not expecting that. Usually, if the Allies get dismantled, India sort of stays free and independent. But it looks like the World War will be kicking off here as Italy joins the Axis, Belgium joins the Czech Entente, and everything is kicking off here as Germany is surrounded by all sides here. Adolf with Musa surrounded. Fierce fighting is breaking out on the Belgian border. Same in southern France. So this is actually probably better for the European allies here in Europe that always fight against Germany. Like, keeping Britain out of it, like, bringing in the Balkans and these various other countries to fight alongside is probably not a bad idea. I'm curious to see the Russian and British position at some point, but it's 1938. And I guess we'll just go through. So, yeah, Russians still doing their thing. Poland has gone fascist, which is super interesting. So they're probably going to ally with Germany. Wow. Unfortunately, it looks like they're losing the Entente as Mussolini is charging into France. And Napoleon is... Napoleon Bonaparte is currently ruling there. Oh my god. Quick, we're losing. Who's someone really charismatic and popular? Is there any Bonapartes? Is there any Bonapartes around that can help us? Oh my god. Yeah, I'm surprised the British aren't helping out in this one. Alright, we haven't looked at America in a while. What's going on over here? Oh my god! Oh, you've got to be kidding me. I can't believe I just poured it over here and it happened. What? We've been focusing so much on Europe. I haven't even been checking what's going on over here. And it looks like Alf Langdon has started an American Civil War. Oh my god. So, we've got the constitutional states of America with Stephen Baxter, and we've got the American junta under Douglas MacArthur, who's had to seize command, and it looks like the Western Pacific states have allied with the constitutional, while the center and the south is obviously rebelling against them. But, oh, here we go. So, no one's joined in on this except for the Philippines. Currently even on divisions. And then, of course, we've got the Germans and Slovakians. So, German Reich and Italy need to capitulate. The French Empire, who has now been declared, as the American junta is fighting for the soul and heart of America. Oh my god, what a crazy game we've got going on over here. So World War II is happening in 1938 as Axis forces are seizing France. Not much else is going on over here. I blame Germany. I blame Britain for going monarchical. Oh wow. So it looks like we've got Polish support here. as the American army looks to push into Richmond, Virginia. Fighting is happening over here in Columbus. What's happened to the American Navy? Who's got that? It's actually been split in half by the look of it. Looking at the aerial supremacy, it looks like the junta has aerial supremacy over the Great Lakes, while the constitutional Americans are fighting over the Appalachians and the East Coast. Which will fall first, the East or the West? Looking at the junta's army, only 40 battalions. I wouldn't imagine that there's much armor fighting over and running over the fields and plains of the United States. But the Mexican Soviet Republic, oh, they've gone communist, Mexico, in the end, after their civil war. But it looks like Adolf and the Nazis and the Germans will be taking and controlling the European continent. What's happened down here? Oh, they've gone communist as well. There's still a fair few communist countries, even though it's sort of not on the rise. If anything, with the collapse of the Soviet Union in this video, they're going to have a very hard time coming back from this. They're still fighting Japan, though, is it encroaching on their territory. The only problem would be for the Russians now, that if, basically because of the collapse, they've quite weakened to the Japanese that are focusing on them now. They have completely bypassed China. They're not even worrying about them as they push on in. Oh my god, what a crazy campaign it has been. So at the moment, they have pushed them out of Michigan, parts of Ohio, and West Virginia. Oh, the Treaty of Brest. The Italians have taken 64 states, followed by the Germans. And it looks like they've won their war. Oh, wow, they have too. So by the look of this, there is no other significant... Oh, here we go. I can't even speak before the world changes in an absolute split second. I was gonna say that the... Yeah. Okay. So it looks like the Italians have joined the Great East Asian Prosperity Sphere. Because they've taken a huge chunk here in Yugoslavia formerly and in France. Germany are in a better position. Yeah, why did they do that? That's so strange. Because really this is all probably Axis aligned, you'd think. Or maybe they just didn't want to call in the Germans. As the Polish Republic is still fighting out. What's going on here in the States? Just a bit of a stalemate at the moment. You'd be worried if this goes on a little bit too longer. The Republic of Ukraine joins the Axis, okay. Because America could be basically cooked for this series. As there's been not much conflict down here in Phoenix. Oh, we've got some fight going on here in the state of Utah. And looks like a communist nation has joined up here. Oh, this is not good for America. Oh god. They've got forces in Canada, which might complicate things. The American junta joins the Axis. Oh wow, the Americans just straight up join the Axis. Oh my god. It's so hard to track what's going on. This is crazy. Okay, this might be able to track it to some extent. So, America's still dealing with their war here. As they're pushing them eastward to Pennsylvania and New York. But the West is still holding a lot more by the look of it. Honduras has joined the Axis. Oh my god, there's so much clicking. So they are at war with Poland by the look of it. And South Africa. And now the Philippines have declared their independence? Yeah, I guess they have. Alright, so what's Germany doing? And where are their enemies? Mostly, okay. So they are at war with Canada. And the Mexicans there. So what's Italy doing? Italy isn't at war with anyone. But the Russians are at war with the Japanese. So that's the major war. So this is the major conflicts that are going on at the moment. As Tsar Vladimir III has been crowned Tsar and king of the Russian Empire. But for only knows how much longer. Because that war in Russia, it's made them super weak and susceptible to Hirohito and his Japanese war machine. He actually might very well swing around and bring Russia into fascist occupation. So, millions losses have been conflicted between Germany and essentially the American and Polish states that have rallied up. Where's the states here in this one? Yeah, so it's all been joining. Oh my god, Ireland joins the Commonwealth of Nations. And as such, Britain is going to seize Ireland. They're actually swarming in there quite quickly. But this is chaos AI for you guys. It's crazy. British forces have landed in Dublin and in Belfast as Iran joins the Axis. Alright, so it looks like, with help of German and British support here, because they actually have that territory in Canada, Britain has landed in the cold north. And it looks like the Americans will be able to win their civil war in the east, with the help of German and Italian forces coming on to help us out. As Douglas MacArthur is still the commander-in-chief of the American forces here. But, bro, the amount of action that's going on here in the States, it's nearly as much as it is in Europe. Maybe, if not more. Okay, so they're just trying to claim Warsaw here, which I'm surprised about. You'd think they'd nearly be on the same side, but I guess the Germans wanted to try and seize Poland for themselves. The army hasn't really grown either here in the States. 37 divisions. But, wow, the Japanese, not gonna lie, they are getting dangerously close to the Ural mountain range. And then maybe capitulating Russia. Okay, so the East is back under their control. Yeah, so Britain joined the Axis after all that. Super interesting. Because really, the Great East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere, I'm surprised it's not... Why I wonder why the Italians went with the Japanese after all that. And will this lead to a war? Because at the moment, it mostly looks like non-aligned and fascists have partied up, as America is torn in turmoil between the Commonwealth of Nations and the Axis. Yeah, so it looks like... What is this? Greece rocking up? The Germans are bringing the armor, while the Americans have the manpower. And it looks like southern Mexico's been attacked here by German and Ukrainian recruits. But what a crazy turn of events. They've lost the House support and the Senate. And they're trying to do a tax reform in the middle of a huge civil war. That sounds pretty American to me. The American-German Constitutional War has now gone to 2 million. Yeah, 362 Americans. Nearly a million. So their manpower will be depleted quite a bit. So they'll switch over to this view. Italy holds most of Africa. And of course, France and the Mediterranean. Spain is fully under the control of Franco. Yeah, he is. Russia's still being attacked by the Japanese. And yeah, it's still really quite close what's going on here in the States. Canada and the constitutional states just need to hold on, but they, look at that, that does not look good. 96 in favor of the aggressor, 86. Luxembourg joins the Commonwealth of Nations. Well, they're just going to be absolutely swarmed up by the Japanese. Yeah, so the Japanese are just fighting the Russians on their own, for whatever reason. Which is kind of just mad. But you would imagine once the West falls, America that is, once San Fran gets taken, maybe even Portland. Oh, it looks like they've actually landed here in Seattle, and they're starting to go with a pretty large and decent envelopment. Oh, good. I'm so happy that it didn't end in a boring, like, American turtling video. You know what? That was a potential happen like this. It either can go, obviously, democratic, and then it, like, goes interventionist and, like, sits back and waits until, well, when, historically and realistically, when the Americans were brought on in, with Britain on the imminent invasion. Sometimes they can go a different democratic route and deal with the Japanese and West Asia from here first, I guess. But it looks like they've won. Ukraine has taken some states as well. And America is currently under the control of the American junta. Douglas MacArthur is the leader. American Caesar. I wonder if he's just the military commander, or will he actually be the president of the states, I guess. Alright, so it looks like Mexico's been brought into the Axis forcibly. The Dominion of Mexico. Why is there a British flag there? As Great Britain is coming to help out as well. Yeah, thankfully they had their territory in Canada, so they could just swarm on forces here. As they're dealing with the Canadian... Oh! And they've just capitulated. I was about to say the Canadian communists, who are now... Still got the British flag there, though. Oh my god, Adrian. Look at that grin. Alright, so... With help from the Germans... America is now fully under the control of the Axis. As the European Defense League has been formed here. Oh my god. The Russians are getting attacked from multiple sides. The Tsar is now getting attacked from Estonia. He's not friendly with the Ukraine. And then we've got the Japanese still doing their thing here. Oh, it's the non-aligned... Oh, that's kind of strange that that's happened. I was going to say the non-aligned monarchy forces are fighting with the Axis, but that's not entirely true because we've got the Russians here doing their thing. Because you'd think that, like, Britain and them would rally up. But then we just got the Japanese, like, storming on in. Crazy. Yeah, so it's just the Chinese on Chinese war. Then we've just got the Japanese war going on here. With Colombia sending forces. Russia's lost 500k. But look at this. Japan basically equals Russia. But then Italy comes in with their additional reinforcers as well. Alright. Yeah, because really, unless the Axis declares war upon the Great East Asian Prosperity Sphere, it looks like it's probably going to be a non-aligned / fascist Axis victory. Now, still quite low on the battalions and divisions there though now, the states. Where is that? Okay, it's like southern Latvia. The Treaty of Amsterdam. The Germans taking various territory as Venezuela joins the Axis. Oh yeah, they're just taking Benelux there basically. Yeah, it looks like... Oh, they're being attacked by the British here. Maybe some other Colombian forces as well. But Pakistan, Turkey, and Spain, still some of the big heavy hitters are still yet to be joined in. And same with China as well. They're dealing with small communist enclaves here, but nothing too crazy. What's going on with Australia? What's their opinion on it? Oh, they're going communist. Alright. Even though it's failing at the moment. They're still holding this strip here. The Russians, but yeah. We'll see. Oh my god, look at this. Germans have declared war on Switzerland as the Japanese still continue to push on their advancement. And they're starting to push on here. Oh, but here we go. Germany just declared war upon them. Well, that's probably a GG for them then. As Switzerland gets surrounded by Adolf and his German forces. Zurich will fall soon, you'd imagine. And now everyone's coming on in. Will there be American boots on the ground now? September 1940. Oh my god. Can we see like a stream of them heading on over? You'd imagine. So yeah, here we go. We can see some pushing over here in the sea. Wow, what a crazy turn of events. Oh, they are pushing into Russia now. With German, Ukrainian and Polish forces. It's mostly the Japanese. Like, you'd think the Russians would be in a far secure and better quality position. They are just stuffed. By Japan doing its own thing. Man, I wonder if war's going to break out. Because, look, we'll go to at least like 1945. Because I'm curious to see if the Axis or the Japanese will actually battle this and fight this out. Because they're united against the Russian Tsar who's come back. Poor Vladimir, exiled, now being brought in. He's about to have his country carved up by fascists. Oh my god. But Mexico and Canada put up a bit of a fight there. Things looked a little bit complicated during the Civil War. That's super interesting. So we still rely on Senate and House support. We're not banning elections. Oh my god, okay. I'm going to do some honouring some controversial stuff there. So 1940, looks like they're getting more American carrier hulls. The fleet still has like 124 destroyers, but it's been severely cut back. 21 air wings. They are starting to grow the army a bit more. 44 battalions. Trade as well. Oh wow, look at this. A whopping 800 oil in surplus. Got a bunch of steel and tungsten. They still lack the rubber and the chromium, but there don't seem to be two allied forces gatekeeping the rubber, you would imagine, so wouldn't be too much longer. Oh my god. As it looks like the Japanese are just trying to absolutely hightail it here. Holy cow. Moscow is about to be taken over by Ukrainian forces. Unbelievable. So, with this war, is it just the Russians? Yep, that's it, because then Colombia and Iraq aren't really involved. I love how Iraq went on side of the Russians. They're getting surrounded here. Oh, wow. Oh, it's Britain. I was going to say, maybe Egypt joined them there. No, Britain's still battling it out here. So the Iranians, though, joined the Axis. But the Caucasus have been seized. Fighting is happening near Grozny. As Germans push on, and Venezuelans come on in. The fuel supply is good. Still 228 factories. And they're going with selective training. At the moment, it's national disarmament. They're still going with the undisturbed isolation policy, but you'd imagine things would change soon. Oh, peace conference is over and calculating. And that's it. The Treaty of Kazan. Japan took a whopping 67 states. The Germany's with 27. And Russia, Colombia, Switzerland was puppeted, along with Belarus was liberated. Oh, great. Okay, so we got the Germans facing the Iraqis, right? And then we got the Chinese, and then this. Oh my god. So, oh, that's just the remnants of that. What a crazy campaign so far. Oh, the problem is, like we turned fascist. We've actually taken a bit of Canada up here and brought it actually into the States. British Columbia and Vancouver Island is inaugurated into the States. That's crazy. That's quite funny. We've got Alaska up here as well. Yeah, so they got the Germans got the RNG of getting us on side, by the way. So that's like it's a pretty decent occurrence. And then we got the communists in that as well, because they got capitulated. But what I find hilarious is that Britain, even though they were non-aligned, they signed with them. Maybe that's because of Edward, though, however. But they got rid of the bloody Tsar. Italy smashed through the French, but it looks like Japan controls most of Russia. They've got Novgorod under their Novgorod. I've been playing too much Witcher recently. Life imitates games, I guess. And then we've got the Germans here, who the Russian Federation still exists, but it's mostly towards Oriel. And a couple of others here as well. Alright, so depending if the Axis or the Great East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere kick off in a war, it looks like non-aligned monarchy and fascism has probably won World War II as we move into 1942. Crazy. No fighting really going on in China. Iran won that. And Pakistan has done their thing. Oh, here we go. We've got the communists, we've got the Richard Nixon with the Australian People's Republic. Yeah, so I guess what we'll do now is just sort of skip ahead. I'll give it to like 1945 just in case something kicks off. World tension is generated to 100%, but there's only a couple small wars going on here. It looks like, yeah, unless the Germans have signed... Yeah, they have. They've signed non-aggression pacts with the Japanese. I wonder how long that will last, though. Out of curiosity. Yeah, but the Americans are going to try and build up here now. They're reaffirming the Monroe Doctrine, which is super interesting. Dating over 100 years back, the Monroe Doctrine. Yeah, so basically they're telling them to stay out of European affairs. Basically, stay out of the Western Hemisphere. Which is super interesting because we're allied with them. But maybe that's more directly targeted as the Great East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere. The Americans are improving their concentrated industry capacity. They're also getting an advanced fire system in as well. And basically just securing their North American position. And they seem to be turtling up here as well. Looking at the production. Oh no, there seems to be a little... I was going to say, there doesn't seem to be that many offensive forces like trucks and light tanks and stuff. They are building basic, medium United States tanks. And they're also producing 80... M1 Thompsons as well. So this is going to be good for them if they can build up a quite large and decent military stockpile. And they've got Charles Lindbergh as the commander of the Air Force. William Helsley Jr. We still haven't got a chief of the army by the look of it. Are we going to get to a point where there's no wars? No, there's still this war going on. I was going to say, it actually could very well happen. But yeah, only time will tell if this peace between Japan and the Axis holds on. The Germans and the Japanese, can they coexist in a world? Maybe, maybe not. This could get very mad in the high castle if we're not careful. Oh, a war has kicked off here. It's only a minor one though, as the Germans attack the Aussies. Oh my god. Why have they gone and done that? Like, what were they doing over here? I guess they were just housing the remnants of the USSR, like, falling. And people fleeing. Oh my god, they're gonna get destroyed. There's literally 10 million people fielded against the Australia. Oh my god. Will they be able to defend it? Because the problem is in Australia, if you just, like, literally park here and run down the coast, you've won. Because first of all, you can't even go into the desert because it's actually been boarded off now because it's so sparsely populated. What's gonna happen to me? I'm down here in Tasmania, by the way. That's where I'm from. In Tassie. And that's in the wrong spot, by the way. Hobart is not there. Hobart's like here. Like bang smack with the port is nearly. Like there. Obviously you can't see where the Derwent or the river is, but... yeah, they're going to get navally invaded to hell, you would imagine. Oh, but we've got this stuff going on over here. Yeah, because Australia currently, at this time, owns Papua New Guinea. Which is super interesting. Some people may or may not know, but when World War II actually kicked off historically, the Germans actually occupied Papua New Guinea, and the Australians were like, yeah, we'll take that. Well, yeah, mate, right on, we'll take that. We'll take that off you. Because I'm sure Hitler had things more on his mind than dealing with old, former 18th... I don't know, when did they take it? 18th century? It was like sort of colonial territory, I kind of see it. Oh! They declared war upon them. When did that happen? That's only just kicked off. Oh, wow. I was going to say, I'm going to start things recording out at 1941, but it looks like the war has broken out between the Axis and the co-prosperity sphere. Oh my god, as the US are sending on forces. So, let's have a look at that. So, basically, North America is fine. Looks like Colombia, there might be some fighting down here. But the Axis is smashing them here. So basically, let's have a look at the belligerents of this one. So we've got the Germans with the Americans and the Brits in the Axis against the Japanese who've allied up with the Italians. So we've got King Edward fighting with Adolf and Douglas MacArthur, the American Caesar I had. And then we've got Hirohito here as well. Oh, looks like the Japanese have landed in Northern Australia. Darwin has been taken and bombed again. They've landed bang smack in the north here as well. So what happens in this? Like, who needs to be taken out? Germany, American, Britain, and then Japan and Italy. Which Italy's probably going to fall soon by the look of it. Japan actually might get taken out in this because they've got they can take, like, the Axis probably can take this and swing on around. Dude, this has been a crazy game. This is crazier than the Soviet one, I'm not even gonna lie. It's 1941 and like the second huge war is kicking off. As German and Czechoslovakian forces here in Romanian push out the Italians in the French-occupied territory here. Wow. Okay, so it's been united up a bit. So the Germans and the Axis have the divisions only by about 100, though. That's not much of a sway. And this one actually has more casualties. So the Italian and the German alliance, the Italian and the Japanese alliance rather have lost 1.1, and the Germans, the Americans, and the Brits have nearly hit 1 million here as well. As the Americans continue to try and manifest their destiny, getting further support for war goals. Limited conscription has been brought in as well, along with export focus and partial mobilization. How have they not gone on a full war economy just yet? So it does look like they're losing territory. Moscow is under the control of the Germans. But yeah, depending on how the Japanese can bed on in, they might get very well pushed all the way back and then down and around here. They've done alright, the Japanese, because they haven't even bothered with China. They've sort of been really quite passive in this. Yeah, depending on depending on where this goes, depending on where this Chinese bloc goes, because they're not aligned. I don't know what they're doing. They are currently getting improved relations with America and the Brits. And Britain is supporting their independence, so unless the Japanese attack them, that could really basically win the war for the Axis. Yep, the Axis is firmly at war with the Great East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere here. Wow. This is, like I said, this is turning very man in the high castle. Oh, what's happened to Australia now? They're flipped on over to centrist Australia with Eric Campbell. Oh, peace conference calculated there. Oh, so the Germans here. Oh, and the Americans have sent over to help the Aussies against the Japanese. Oh, Tassie's been taken. No! The Japanese have taken my state. Oh, great. Why did they go after that? I guess because they could just pivot there quite easily. Oh, yeah, I was going to say. I was wondering, how did the Germans get here? Oh, they've taken Papua. But I guess they could have come from New Caledonia as well, because that's the thing. If the French fall, you actually get this, and then you can, like, take Australia, like, super quick. Alright. Oh, and it looks like the Indonesians have come in as well. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is not looking good. This is going to be a world fully under control of essentially the fascists with the Axis, and then Edward and the British monarchy, which you think you nearly betray. Japan is, yeah, still holding out. 1.1 mil. Mostly Italians rather than Japanese. The war against them really hasn't kicked off in Russia just yet. And then the Germans have lost 600k. How are the Americans doing in this? The Brits have lost 320k. The Americans have only lost 130k. But they're still at war. But at the moment, still rather quite close. About 60%. That could really sway either side, to be honest. But as the war goes on, with the fielded manpower and probably the pop now. But they do have Russia, so they've got a lot of population, the Japanese. They're going to be able to grind things out. They're going to out-industry them. It's just the population. Will they be able to do it? I don't know. Yeah, so it's mostly... Oh, wow, here in Russia now. Iran has now come in. Italy is still yet to fall. They're still actually fighting quite valiantly. Florence hasn't fallen. There's like a Finnish civil war going on here. Will they be able to do it before 1945? I don't know. Okay, it is January 1943 and the war still rages on. Oh, as China joins the Axis. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so there's still very little progress and border change here on the Eastern Front. The Japanese are still fighting. Well, that's actually massive that they've gone and done that. It was only a matter of time before they were going to come in anyway. But yeah, very little progression in some areas. But most of the Axis is now under African control as well. Unfortunately, Douglas is being kicked out and Charles has been brought in. Along with the Silver Legion of America, which kind of sucks. I was kind of all down for MacArthur's America. And his sort of title of Caesar. Which is rather just funny. But yeah, war still rages. They still need to get rid of the Japanese. Currently nearly raising to 10 million, sitting at about 9, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, they're still fighting on the Russian border here. The Germans and the Japanese. Further down here in essentially Kazakhstan. Oh, but now the Chinese are fighting in Manchuria. Yeah, so it was only a matter of time because they were on a line. They just took so long. Okay, I've skipped a little bit ahead. May 1944 because there's been very little progression. Like, it's been a full year and there's been a little bit of expansion here. If anything, the Japanese have actually gained some ground in Russian territory and in the Middle East as well. However, the Chinese have pushed massively on here. They're now in Korea, and there's been an amphibious landing here in Tokyo. And the casualties and losses have risen to 6 million on the German side, 7 million on the oh my god, 3.8, nearly 4 million Japanese, 2.3 million losses for the Germans, 1 million for the Brits, and what are we sitting at? Just under a million for the United States. But hopefully, this war probably isn't going to go on for too much longer. Because for all intents and purposes, the Axis have won this one. Tasmania's and Australia's still battling it out. They still hold Darwin. And there's German tanks and Americans fighting in the north. Okay, June 1944. Although the Japanese are actually winning here on the Western Front in Russia, like, they're getting really pushed back. They're only a couple tires away from Moscow itself. They're doing quite well here in Iran, Afghanistan as well. But it's basically back at home, in the home islands, they're losing. Korea is about to fall to a united German-Chinese push. And also, Eastern Japan has, like, pretty much fallen to an amphibious assault by the Americans, which is probably going to capitulate them if they're not careful. As Nagoya and Osaka is probably going to be taken. Oh, that might... Oh, no, it did a bit of a loading there. 79% in favor of the aggressor. Yeah, Japan's going to fall after losing 4 million Japanese in this conflict. It's actually shot up now to a whopping 14 million losses. And they're still holding down in Australia, here of course, and in Papua. Oh, they might actually... This actually might be it. As Hiroshima is about to be taken. July 1944. Oh, It's loading now. I think they've just capitulated. Yep, peace conference is over and calculating. Yep, the war has ended. The Treaty of Panu, the German Reich took 73 states, 44 for the Brits, 2 for the Federation, and a lot of stuff's been puppeted there. So let's have a look now. Oh my god, the Axis, it controls the world, except for this small belligerent state here, the European coalition. I don't even know if that doesn't really count, that's crazy. Well, that's it, it's just the Argentine and Bolivia war, but the World War is over. All wrapped up, the Axis win by 1944. That is crazy. So, the United States ends with Charles, currently the president. So, we did manage to incorporate 2 more states into the 50s. So, there's 52 states of America, one being British Columbia, the second being Vancouver Island. The United States did alright in bringing Mexico and Canada into the fold. But yeah, the German Reich is pretty hard to beat. Once France falls and King Edward allying himself with the Germans, obviously in real life having German sympathies. Oh my god, I don't even know what's going on here. Oh my god, so Russia's been completely split up. Look at the border gore of this. So there's a Russians here, then there's Ukrainians here, then there's the Japanese shogunate, which has been puppeted in Siberia. Then we've got the North Siberian Empire, then the White Siberian Empire, then the East Siberian Empire. Oh my god. Which have all been brought into the Axis. China as well. And then we've got the Germans here as well. China is half control of Japan, along with the puppeted Japan as well. Oh my god. I actually clicked on the thing there, brought up so many units. So many divisions. So, the world is currently under Axis control. So the United States ends with 269 divisions, a whopping 3,200 battalions. Currently on extensive conscription and war economy. They've still currently got House and Senate support. The CIA is currently trying to infiltrate the Afghani civilian administration along with the army and the air force. Great. While the nuclear bombs are only just being developed and the M2 carbine is being pushed into production. Trade is off the charts. There's also nuclear reactors being constructed as well, and there's the equipment for the states. Also the rifle stockpile is off the charts as well. I think that's pretty much it. 256 infantry divisions, only 10 medium tanks and 2 railway guns, and the fleet actually has been decimated since the start of the game. There was like 100 destroyers, now there's only 60. There are more battleships and carriers though, and the air force is expanded to a whopping 85 wings as well. But that's pretty much it. Russia's been completely carved up. France is no more. Great Britain still mostly holds the overseas territories here. And what happened to Australia in the end? They were... Oh. Well, the North got converted. But, oh. So the German Reich just decided to take where I'm at in Tasmania. Great. They took Darwin and Tassie, but they let the Victorians and the men in New South Wales and the Queenslanders to themselves. Great. All right, let's just exit there. Let's go through the stats and see who did the best. So it was clearly the Germans, followed by Britain. The Americans actually finished in 3rd, Japanese 4th, China in 5th. The army score was with the Germans, actually followed closely by the Americans. They sit in 3rd with a war score of 76, and the Axis has 65 members and a strength of 93, which is crazy. The Germans have actually managed to overtake the US's Navy, while the Germans and the Brits have the Air Force. And to be fair, since we don't have Africa under our control like Britain, that's not too bad of a factory output. And then the land score is up there. We're currently in 3rd. But unfortunately, it's time to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this Hearts of Iron 4 No Step Back United States campaign. It was a crazy one, as the non-aligned monarchists, and the fascists won on out. But thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. I am open to doing more campaigns. We've got France, UK, Italy, and Japan, all of the major. And then I guess we can start working down here. Also, I'm open to mods as well. Kaiser Reich, the modern day, and yeah, any other mods you guys suggest. So, hope you've been really enjoying this series. I've been having an absolute blast. I've been having so much fun being back on Hearts of Iron 4, and I hope you guys are enjoying as well. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to play the outro now. Unfortunately, it's time to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. Check out my social media links in the description below if you want to stay connected with me. I also want to say thank you to this month's patrons and channel members: Victor K, Sebastian C, Jordan K, Caesar L, Brian S, Tao, Lion B, Kyle P, Tom C, and White P. My name has been Simpzy. Much love from Australia. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.